Roll call, please. Ms. Klein.
Member Folter,
Here.
Member Neary, Member Neiman. Here. Member Kelly.
Here.
Member Wyrick,
Here.
Member Levins,
Here.
Member Mayor Baker,
Here.
Assistant Administrator Barks,
Here.
City Attorney Edmondson.
Full call, full house minus the administrator who's on vacation. I hope he's enjoying his time with his family. July 1st, we lost a member of the family, retired member of the family, Mike Campamore. He passed in California, Kentucky. He was a retired assistant fire chief. So we're about to do a moment of silence. So while we're having that moment of silence, if you could keep him and his family in your thoughts, that'd be appreciated.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for your time. Next up on the marriage report, we've had a pretty busy month, as always. But there's not much on my report because we just had this meeting a couple weeks ago, so nothing to report. So we're going to move right along to the swearing in of a new police officer, Mr. William Howe. Mr. Howe, if you'll meet me right here, or Chief, how you want to do this? Watch. Yeah. Hopefully I will. Howe, please, right here. I, William Howe.
I, William Howe,
Swear or affirm that I will faithfully perform
swear from I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office of police officer
the duties of the office of police officer
of a fourth class city,
of the fourth class city,
that I possess the required qualifications,
that I possess the required qualifications,
that I shall not interfere
and that I shall not interfere
in any election,
with any election,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Welcome to me.
Thank you, sir.
Just raise the bill real quick. Bill's out. Came from Lola Department. He's had it out for a little bit. He's been in the federal system for a long time. Went to work with friends. Decided he wanted to finish his career in law enforcement. Get a job with me. He applied with us. And we hired him. He was a good fit here. He just got released from FTO. He's been in field training for the last 5 weeks so far, and he's thrived. So he just got released on his own. So we're happy to have him, and welcome to the family.
Next up on our police time, we have a very nice award to give.
Yes, we do. So these officers are working shift right now, so that's why we're getting it done real quick so they can get back out there. This is just a police chief's merit award. This is just something the officer at the time feels like they're just doing their job, but in actuality, they're actually possibly saving a life. So I will read this for you. So this is for Officer Mallory Kabbalah. If you want to come up here, and I'll read this to you. And sometimes we have things that don't happen in our city, and we help assisting other cities. This is what happened that day. So on June 10th, 2024, at approximately midnight, quarter after, Officer Mallory Kabbalah and K-9 Officer Spears were flagged down at UDF in Bellevue for a male slumped over the wheel and unresponsive. Once Officer Kabbalah located the male, she attempted to wake him, and began providing him sternum rubs because he wasn't waking up. That's what kind of how we wake him up, which woke him up. The male was lethargic and hit his gas pedal, revving the engine. Officer Kabala asked him to turn off the vehicle and stepped out. After the subject failed to comply, Officer Kabala attempted to remove the subject, prompting him to reverse the car. While throwing the vehicle into reverse, he struck Officer Kabala with the driver's side front door. He began dragging her and Officer Spears as he backed towards Fairfield Avenue and attempted to flee from police. Officer Kabala quickly recognized the danger that Officer Spears was in and acted by telling Spears to get out of the vehicle. She got out of the way herself. She was able to get away, but Officer Spears was not able to get out of the way. She grabbed Officer Spears under the vest and pulled him out of the vehicle, preventing him from any chance of injury. Besides telling him, like I said, she physically grabbed him. As Officer Spears exited the car, the subject fled the scene at a high rate of speed. Contact was lost as he fled into Cincinnati. By Officer Kabala recognizing the danger Officer Spears was in, she prevented him from being seriously injured or worse by getting him out of a tragically vulnerable position. On behalf of the Dayton Police Department, we thank Officer Kabala for her excellence, which could have potentially saved Officer Spears' life. So congratulations. So she's only been a police officer for 1 year, so she already knew the danger that he was in. You see many videos of police officers hanging on to vehicles and being thrown from vehicles, possibly hitting their head or being ran over by the vehicle. So long story short, he did get away. We knew who he was. Charges were filed on him. It just so happened I was on vacation and he decided to come back to the city on July 1st. Officers responded for 2 subjects being loud, one of those being Officer Llewellyn, Mr. Llewellyn ran into the house as officers were at the scene, and they were able to, he slammed the door, locked the door. Officers kicked the door in, went in after him, took him into custody, arresting him for his active 5 warrants, plus the warrant that we had on him for dragging Officer Spears and potentially dragging Officer Spears and Officer Kabala. So he did get arrested. We did arrest him on the 1st, so it did have a good ending. So he was from Cincinnati, not from Dayton, but I guess he was in the city at that time. So we were able to catch him. So I just want to congratulate you on a job well done, and you did a good job. I looked at the video, watched everything. You did everything you should have done. So very deserving.
Excellent work, Officer Kabala. You're an asset to the force, man. Next on the docket, we have the approval of minutes from last council. We have 2.
We have a special call meeting.
Oh, we had it. So do you want to do special meeting approval as well as June's?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the special meeting minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Member Kelly's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Member Lovins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. That takes us to June's minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the approval of minutes for June of 2024?
So move.
Mr. Vulture's made the movement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Neiman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Now we always like to open up the podium for anybody who would like to address council administration on any agenda items for this evening. Again, this is just for items on tonight's agenda and not just general conversation. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns regarding tonight's agenda, please approach the podium. All right, we'll go ahead and close that out. We have a few ordinances on the docket here, so let's go ahead and get those started. First up will be the second reading of ordinance 2024-9. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, vacating a portion of Kenton Street right-of-way pursuant to KRS 82.405.
I have a question on this, sir, and maybe I printed it out wrong. On Exhibit B, consent of city and MBCC to be attached prior to adoption, there's nothing on there. It was there?
Was there?
There's Appendix A and A1, I think, but not Appendix. Like I said, I might have printed it out wrong, I don't know.
Should have received a copy. Printed on your desk there as well. Yeah, Joe, I don't know at this exact moment. You see it?
Well, maybe a question for the city attorney. Can we approve it? Because it says prior to adoption, and of course, it wouldn't be adopted until the mayor signs it.
Pull up right now.
Yep. What'd you search for? In your email?
I'm trying to pull it up now, Joe. So you're talking about the exhibit attached to ordinance 2024-9, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The very last page is B1, and it says Exhibit B, consent of city and MBCC to be attached prior to adoption. I mean, if it's not time urgent, we could even table this till the next meeting.
I can't pull it up right now for some reason. I don't know. Exhibit's not attached to the internet either, as far as our website.
Okay.
I was looking for it. That's where it's not. So probably would make sense to table it. I don't think it's crucial.
Well, because this is impacting a right-of-way and what they're going to do to the right-of-way, I mean, we were told in the initial proposal that they were going to pave that Kenton Street coming down there, which is a rain issue. And I presume that would be included in the consent area.
But, I mean, tabling it for purposes, it's not going to slow them down in their process.
Then I move to table this, 2024-9.
There's an exhibit A1.
No, you just second the table and approve. If you'd like.
So, website.
All right, so I have to do there, huh? I mean,
Hold on just a second, Joe.
Oh, there's a consent for Cora. There's a consent for.
I saw, I looked at all of them, I thought I saw something on there, maybe I didn't.
here, you can go ahead and drive.
Legislation 2024-9. There it is there. Exhibit A1. It's blank. Yeah.
Is that coming up? Well, Member Neary, if you'd like to table it.
I second the table.
All right.
I apologize.
Couldn't get my printer working until this
That's a
afternoon.
Fine point.
It's, what we're doing now is to make sure, whatever we're voting on, we want to make sure it's on the internet, just so anybody else would understand. So I've got it pulled up, Joe, just let me look one quick thing. Yeah, so there is no exhibit B. It's been attached, so we need to get it. It's the consent of city and BCC, so we need to
Okay.
get it. And
All
we'll
right.
attach it. So it's to be attached prior to adoption. So let's get that put on the next agenda, make sure it's on.
Appreciate that.
No worries. Thanks for looking at that, pointing that out.
Robert's Rules of Orders, we had a motion for table, we have a second, that's all we need, right?
That's all you need.
Cool. All right, it's been tabled.
We want to vote on it.
We have to vote on the tabling?
You want to vote on the table just to make sure that there's not supposed to be.
All right.
Okay, do I have a motion, I had a second, roll call, please, Ms. Klein.
Aye.
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 Member Wyrick?
Aye.
Member Levens? Aye. Member Volter?
Aye.
All right, that has been tabled until next month. Let's get those exhibits up on the internets, interwebs, for all to see. Next is simply a first reading of ordinance 2024-10. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending sections 92.10, 92.11, 92.12, 92.13, 92.14, and 92.15 of Title IX, General Regulations of the City of Dayton Code of Ordinances prohibiting excessive noise, including criminal penalties and other enforcement provisions for the failure to comply with the ordinance.
Again, that's just a first reading. The next first reading is ordinance 2024-11.
Can I have a question about that?
Yo,
So is this like fireworks too?
this, does this include fireworks?
Yes, it's loud and unnecessary noise.
And there are times around fireworks? I don't really know what they are, but,
Loud noise is a loud noise at any,
okay, but like, I don't know I'm not sure about the ordinance on fireworks. Like, is it a certain date, certain times, and that's it? Or like, how would that work?
I don't think
Because
there's any
they're always
certain
loud.
days or certain times. I mean, I might celebrate my nephew's birthday with a bottle rocket.
Okay,
I might
well,
not. I don't like
okay,
fireworks.
fireworks are excessively noisy.
I've noticed.
Okay, so what are the parameters around fireworks in relation to this ordinance?
Well, it's not specifically tailored to fireworks.
I know, but
We're not carving out exemption. I mean, the big issue of the noise, and Jay and I talked about this, is actually talking about the possibility of having our cruisers all equipped with the right technology, so we can actually determine how loud of a boom or how loud of a noise it's being made. Obviously, 4th of July and some fireworks occasions, the rules are a bit relaxed, just industry standard. If the person's just shooting off fireworks, that would certainly rise the level of noise.
okay, was this ordinance written targeted toward fireworks or just noisy in general, just noisy
Noise in
all
general.
kinds?
All noises.
Okay.
All, one of the big discussions we had, we came back to was like construction.
Okay,
One of the issues was looking at, Jay and I looked at the constitutionality of when you can limit construction. Well, you can't just say it's 9 to 5 on Mondays and Fridays. It doesn't work like that. So we were able to come up and reach a consensus where on Saturdays and Sundays, but it has to end at a certain point, start and stop. So you can't be all hours of the night. So with any noise restriction, it has to be content neutral. It has to be neutral across the board. It means everybody's treated the same way. So you
Okay.
can't just say this part of the city has this ordinance as it pertains to noise and this part, the marina can get away with it. It's citywide. So we looked at it just within the entire geographic area of Dayton. And we went back and forth on a few issues and we came up with one that we believe is going to pass constitutional muster.
and this was in response to citizen complaints
You got
about
it.
noise?
Precisely.
Okay,
I think you can use some complaints along the river and some concern about some loud noise. And that was the primary impetus of looking at our noise ordinance and realizing we're archaic. Let's work on it.
And I have a question actually for the chief. Chief Hatfield, do we have a decibel meter?
Yeah, you can get pretty good ones, apps for those. We've got one on.
We pointed that out, Joe.
Right.
So our old ordinance actually had that, which
Right.
of course we didn't have.
Right.
So we're going to fix that, make sure before you cite anybody, you've got the ability to measure the decibel level.
You know, we had a case years ago at Buena Vita with the outside band, but we didn't have a decibel meter to be able to measure it on
Yeah.
Lawnmower.
long ago.
What started this? I guess that is just the first reading of 2024-10, which is, any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, moving right along to first reading of ordinance 2024-11. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 91 of the City of Dayton Code of Ordinances regarding the removal of animal excrement in the city, including civil fines for the failure to comply with the ordinance.
Questions?
Love it.
Animal excrement. Bill loves it. Got it.
So we talked about more garbage cans for dog poop. What's going on with that?
We have some more.
Awesome. Okay.
Up next is the first reading of ordinance 24-12. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 31 of the Dayton Code of Ordinances to update information about non-elected officials and city employees.
You said 31?
31. I'm
Yep.
a little dyslexic.
Yep, that looks right. I need readers at this age. Maybe you could print this larger for me?
Can borrow
They're like
mine, Ben.
$5.
What's that?
They're like $5 at
Yeah,
Walmart.
but it's a thing.
Just do it. It's coming one way or the other. So this, care to elaborate?
From what I've been told, it's because, and Tristan can talk more about it probably, our ordinance did not have some of our employees listed as approved positions. So this is just some housekeeping to update the ordinance and have all of the positions that we encapsulate in the city staff.
One of the things that we're required to do is every 5 years, we're supposed to look at all the ordinances and update any that are antiquated. And so we're looking at a couple that could add a couple positions. When you create a position, ordinance has to reflect it. So we're just looking at making, and we run across this occasionally from time to time. Now we're just making sure that it's all ratified. And that's why you're seeing some of this, and you will continue to.
Any other questions? Next up, first reading ordinance 2024-13. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 2219, setting forth compensation and number of authorized positions for employees under the Dayton classification system.
This is an ordinance that we typically do every 2 years, just updating those salary ranges for the different employee positions. This is 2 years since the last time that we've done it. Almost all of them had increases like you normally would see over time. And we did increase a couple of positions, one being seasonal labor. We had 0 positions, now we have 2 for that, and that's for the public works crew to have like summer help. And then the other is police corporal. That was a position that the police department requested in the budgetary process.
Thank you. Mr. Barks, any questions regarding this first reading?
I guess I should also say that we don't just pull these numbers out of nowhere. It comes from KLC. We get a wage and salary report from them every year. They provide us with how much people in the state are making based on city size. We look at our city size, and that's how we come up with these numbers.
Last on the ordinances is the first reading of ordinance 2024-14. Ms. Klein, please.
An ordinance amending the City of Dayton, Kentucky's annual budget for the fiscal year running from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the city to the full extent authorized by KRS 82.082 and interpretive case law.
This is for the last fiscal year, which is closed. This is a typical practice by cities to kind of clean up their budgets at the end of the year to make sure that they have all the income and expenses listed and appropriated by the city council. There are minor adjustments. Typically, we're looking more at expenses than we are income. It's going to be this sheet right here. Okay. So the changes here: general government, police, professional services, miscellaneous capital spending, those have minor tweaks. Not enough of a change really to warrant a huge explanation. It's just minor salaries. I did want to go over a couple of things. One is municipal road aid. We had $50,000 budgeted, but in the end we spent $197,000. That is from the 7th Street Slide project, which we did get a grant for, so it's not city funds that we're spending, it's grant funds, but of course, when it's on the budget, it all kind of mixes in the same pot. So that project and then the Berry Street connector work caused that to go over budget. The second one is in the TIF column, which is the very right-hand side. Toward the bottom, you'll see we have $505,000 budgeted. We, in the end, spent $865,000. That's just the TIF payments that we receive and supply over to the state or the other agencies and back to the developer. We just did not estimate close to what it actually inevitably spent. This was our first year, if I recall correctly, that we tried to get a handle on how much income we were going to get from the TIF. But as we go along further, we'll get more and more exact on that. So like I said, this is just housekeeping to appropriate the funds needed to close out the fiscal year.
Two things. First off, on this, under the park board, you got 98,000 for capital spending.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is for?
That was appropriated for the Sergeant Park Trail grant in case we finished it in last fiscal year, which we did not.
Gotcha. And then I
Yeah,
noticed.
just because it's on here doesn't mean it's spent. I should say that.
Okay, good.
We only have to increase it if we want to put in those categories.
Understood. Thank you. The second thing was on the TIF payments, we have, three different TIFs in town. We've got Grant Park, we've got Manhattan Harbor, and we've got Red Knot. But on the different budget reports, I don't see any TIF payments to Red Knot.
Red Knot was not online during, meaning we weren't collecting those property taxes. I believe it's 1 year in arrears, if I remember correctly, and Jay can give you more information about that. I don't deal with it on a daily basis.
Okay.
But I know that it is in arrears, so it's like 1 year delayed or something like that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because I saw they cleared off the hillside up there, like they're going to be building some more. Thank you. Back.
Any other questions regarding
4
first
years ago.
reading of ordinance 2024-14? All right, moving right along. To the orders and resolutions. First up is Order Resolution 2024-12. Romeo, Ms. Klein, please.
An order resolution of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Alex Edmondson and Edmondson and Associates to provide legal services and serve as city attorney for the City of Dayton, Kentucky.
As we all know, Alex has been our faithful attorney for years now. Like 3 years? Yeah. And Jay does a lot of legal work, but he gets overwhelmed. So Alex is certainly one of our great partners in the city and helping make sure that everything's done properly and beneficial for the city. So I appreciate his work over the past 3 years, and if you guys see so fit, I'd like to move forward.
I'm going to have office hours now too. So
You ready for that?
I'm ready. I'm going to come to staff meetings and be there and hopefully help out. And
You're going to help eat all the cookies?
No, I don't need that. But Jay and I are going to work, and Jay and I talk about a lot of things conceptually about how ordinances and stuff works. And I think it's a healthy thing to keep working on. And we edit each other and work on it. And I've got a lot to learn. And the nice thing about being in the city on a weekly basis and actually sitting here in the office is seeing all the different problems that mayor and staff faces, which is numerous. So I'll be over at the police department helping them with their open records requests, which as they get quite a few of them. So I appreciate working with you guys and continue to do it. When you look at these ordinances and you see 20, 30 years, 40 years go by and they haven't been updated, we're to work on just categorically kind of going down them step by step, trying to integrate. So thanks for the opportunity.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-12R.
Member Volters made the motion to approve. Do I have a second to approve?
I'll second.
Second by Member Kelly, which opens it up for questions, comments, concerns.
Just like to say, appreciate your hard work and diligence and support of the city. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Roll call, please, Ms. Klein.
Member Neiman.
Aye.
Member Kelly.
Aye.
Member Wyrick.
Aye.
Member Levens. Aye. Member Volter.
Aye.
Member Neary.
Aye.
Welcome back aboard, sir. Next up is Order Resolution 2024-13, Romeo. Ms. Klein, please.
An order resolution of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, authorizing and ratifying an assignment of the city's winning foreclosure bid for 525 10th Avenue, Dayton, Kentucky to ACH Holdings LLC.
I have a motion to accept 2024-13, Romeo.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Member Lovins has made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Volter, which opens up the board for questions, comments, concerns.
What's it?
Is this considered a sale of city property to a third party?
That's why it's on here. That's why we put it on as a resolution, because it's actually, at this point in time, we were signing our bid, and we have some vested property interest in the bid. We haven't taken title to possession yet. I'm not sure if the payment's been made. Has the payment been made yet to the master, do we know? Okay, so technically, we've got an equitable interest in the property that we're signing over to this other property, or to the other investor.
If we approve it, or has it already been assigned over?
It's my understanding it can't happen until we approve it, so until you approve it.
Okay.
Were we supposed to approve it before the bid was made?
When you say a bid, you mean open to the public bid? There was no open.
Purchase.
When was the bid done, Jared, if you know?
It was purchased at the master commissioner's sale.
Oh, our purchase, the city's purchase?
That's what she's referring.
Okay, not to the other person, but I thought there was authorization already given.
Yes.
Thought yeah.
There was an executive session.
Oh,
We had discussions.
okay.
This is the property.
I know.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, concerns regarding 2024-13, Romeo? I have a motion made by Member Lovins, a second by Member Volter. Roll call, please, Ms. Klein.
Aye.
Member Wyrick.
Aye.
Member Levens.
Aye.
Member Volter.
Aye.
Member Neary.
Aye.
Member Neiman.
Present and not voting.
The ayes have it. And last on the orders and resolutions for this evening would be 2024-14. There's that number again. Romeo. Ms. Klein, please.
An order resolution of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Cincinnati Off-Road Alliance in connection with a trail building and restoration project in Sergeant Park.
Move to approve 2024-14R.
With all your work up in Sergeant Park, Mr. Volter, I appreciate you being the first.
That's
to
Mr.
jump.
Volter.
That's
Thanks,
I know we look alike.
Appreciate all that work.
I appreciate you jumping on top of that one. So we had a motion by member Neary. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by member Neiman. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding 2024-14 Romeo?
And this will make the work commence immediately, I'm presuming, or shortly.
They are anticipating August.
August? Sweet.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Member Wyrick?
Aye.
Member Levens?
Aye.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Let's go. The ayes have it. All right, done with orders, resolutions, first readings and second readings. So that puts us right into the department directors' monthly reports. In Dayton, Kentucky, we like to respect ladies, so ladies go first. Ms. Patterson, with your code enforcement report, please.
Yes, so you have a copy of my report. Last council, they asked me for numbers. Sent out an email, but I wasn't sure if everybody got it. So we have 471 active. 117 of those are vacant, 24%. 300 outside. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we got it. Sections, 45 units, one location. Then we're going to move on to sidewalk. Yeah. Sorry.
Microphone on, ma'am.
Dave moved it. Sorry.
Move.
I've been kind of camping out at the park looking for,
Didn't you catch somebody with the?
I did catch somebody.
With a dog, but they
Yes.
were honest.
Yes, he was. And you know, I just kind of want to give a heads up to people that, hey, we're going to start watching. You know, you have to have a bag with you if you're walking your dog. It's common courtesy. So I did stop one young man, and he said, my wife walked the dog last time, and the bags were out, and I didn't know it. So he went home, got the bag, and came back. But I haven't seen anybody. So I don't know. I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time down there, but I did come in really early one morning because I heard that there's some early morning visitors down there.
Mhm.
So, but I didn't see anybody. So, yeah, we're keeping an eye out on that. And other than that, that's it.
Well, in the ordinance that we did the first reading on about dog excrement,
Yes.
Now I do send violations and citations for, you know, say, for instance, your next door neighbor has
Donna,
Donna, yeah, an issue with, you know,
right,
people in their own yard not cleaning up their dog.
right. But it's in the ordinance, it says it's not only police can cite, but also code enforcement and public works supervisor can
Ooh.
also. He's writing on that.
Don't give Rick a took book. Anyway, so yeah, so just be aware that, you know,
Appreciate that.
we're going to watch. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson. 4th of July, this last week. Busy, busy day for the fire department. So in recognition of that, Chief Atkins, you get to go next.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
You all have my report. We were busy on the 4th of July. It was mostly EMS runs. We did not have any fireworks issues that we know of. If they did, they didn't call us. They heard them. They were all over the place, but we did not have any complaints called in the firehouse. Our report's pretty light this month, not a whole lot extra to report. On top of it, we did have our fire board meeting in June. Approved our budget, which I appreciate both cities willing to continue to work with us. Beyond that, I don't have a whole lot extra to add this month.
You're down one?
I'm down two.
Two.
We're down two. And I have one that's in a process in another department that I'm 95% certain he's going to be offered a job. So I'll be down three. I've got one right now that has to pass a certification from the state. And so we'll get him on hopefully within the next week or so. We're all fighting for the bites, the same apple. So it is what it is.
Any questions for Chief Atkins? Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you all.
Chief Hatfield, your report, please.
Okay, you have my monthly report. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that right now. Just to reiterate, welcome Officer Howe and great job, Officer Kabbalah, on the work that they do. And the only thing I have is we do have Summer Bash this weekend, this Saturday. It's going to be from 2 to 6 down at Gilliland Park. Hopefully we'll see you down there. Got a lot of raffles and things for kids to do. So we will be down there.
Officer Leinkugel, and this year's Officer Spears as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they really put a lot of time and effort into that, and a lot of community work to make that.
Yeah, a lot of community, a lot of assistance from the community, the Reds, the Cincinnati Bearcats, the Gold Star Chili. I mean, you name it. We in NKU. I think we got a signed thing from Coach Pope from UK. So we got some things to raffle off, and they've diligently went out in the community and got a lot of assistance. So hopefully we get some money for the city. So we have a good Christmas this year, and that's all I have.
People are always asking about police and trying to be more active in the community. This is just a first-hand experience of they're reaching out to kids, wanting to be in front of them and making them their friends. So this is excellent work by your department.
Yes, I appreciate that. Also, like I said, we're trying to get out there a little bit more. It's been a little hot. I did purchase a tent. We'll say Dayton Police. Hopefully it'll be here by Saturday, and we can pop it up throughout the community, give out water, popsicles for the kids, and things like that. I've been wanting to do that for a while, but just had some graphical issues with the police patch and trying to get it all together to put on a canopy was kind of a little difficult, but we got it done. Hopefully it'll be here Saturday. So that's all I have.
Any questions for Chief Hatfield?
I have a question for you.
Yes, hopefully I have an answer.
When is school going to be coming here sometime soon to discuss path? We actually start on the 14th of August, which is pretty early for Dayton. And do we have a path, like the route?
To discuss traffic. I think we talked
Double
about
lanes
that.
and closed, right?
Yes.
So there's only one way, I'm gonna say in, coming down Third, they're gonna have to come out where every car is going to make a U-turn in Gilliland.
Yeah, I think we had determination on that. I think when Jay was here last time, what we projected to like to see what happened, but
Well, about 30 days.
I know that's kind of, I give my opinion on the traffic flow. They have not come to me and asked. So that might be something I will reach out to maybe Mr. Wright and Mr. Wolf. Both of them are in the admin building now. Mr. Wright is too. And maybe get something out.
Okay. I was just shocked when I called over there today and I'm like, 14.
Yeah.
So when they drop off, I imagine most of them will go in the area in front of the school.
I believe what they were looking for. So Third Street's going to be open, and then I believe they were going to look at widening, getting permission from the city to widen the road on the back between the flood wall and the school. So there's enough room going there. So it'd just be a continual circle.
Yeah, but
Drop off
Fifth
soon.
Street, so Fifth Street is the only entrance for everyone elementary. So you're gonna still have to come around St. Bernard's, basically Hansman's Corner, but that's also high school. That's also like everybody's going to be stuck and
Yeah, I agree. I think the elementary school could be more of a problem than the high school.
Usually when we had, I guess the way the traffic went, people dropped off their kids at elementary and drove down Green Devil Lane, dropped their kids off at high school. They're just going to have to circle the block and go down Clay Street down to 3rd and make that loop. Like a little circle. So
that's putting everyone at one corner.
Yep.
Traffic for both schools.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the traffic flow goes. We're not going to know till, I mean, there's only one way in, one way out. And
Change the path on Fifth and keep them turn a right, go down the avenue, and then the other ones can go down Clay for, I just know we're 30 days away and no one seems
Okay.
to have an answer yet.
I don't have an answer, but I will get you an answer soon.
Sir?
You're welcome.
Excellent question. Yeah, questions for Chief? Yeah, good evening, sir.
'Cause that's the same with the trucks delivering and all that good stuff. Everyone's going to be in that one spot with all the construction.
Last on the agenda tonight is Rick Lucas from Public Works. Rick, it's your busy time of year, man.
Yeah, we're busy.
How you doing?
Good. We got plenty of work to do. We started on the river trail last week and we got all of it done except for about 75 yards. So we should be able to knock it out in a day and that trail will be done. And then we're going to try to mix some chemicals together, some salt, 99%
Vinegar.
vinegar, yeah.
Yeah.
And
All
we're going to
earth
mix
friendly
it up
stuff.
and try to spray it and see what happens.
It's all earth friendly since we're close to the waterway, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, there's nothing dangerous about that.
Sure.
And we got our tank in, we got our barrels in to mix it, waiting on a pump. And then just day-to-day stuff. I mean, we haven't had to cut too much grass, but we've cut a lot today and yesterday. Yeah, so yes, Friday we cut some. But other than that, if anybody's got any questions, I mean, come on, Joe, I know you got one for me. Anybody else?
You don't?
No, I talked to him the other day.
Good, I mean,
Fantastic.
all right, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Have a good evening. And that concludes the Department Director's monthly reports, which takes us to the City Administrator's report. Assistant Administrator Barks, please.
Councilmember Mary asked that I do a monthly report. So I'll be continuing this after this meeting as well. So I just pulled up some things that I've been working on over the last month. We've already discussed the budget. I won't discuss that. There are 5 new businesses in the process of locating in Dayton at the moment. 2 of which have been made public, so I can talk about them here. Wayfair Pizza and the Burton Building at the intersection of Berry and 6th, and then LA Cafe, which is in the old garage space, 825 6th Avenue. They will actually be having a soft launch tomorrow. I don't know if they want me to say that. 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. They're going to have a soft launch, so if you all want to go down there and check it out. The remaining 3 wish to remain anonymous because they're still going through their government hurdles and all the logistics and all of that. But they do look very promising, and I think they are going to happen. Just some Dayton Business Assistance Grant updates. I will be having a document next month showing how much of the public money went into these projects, but also how much private money went into them. Private money is well above what we put into these buildings, and we get the wonderful results of having new facades and new businesses in the building. So 2 of these that are pending currently, Body of Art Tattoo, which I have a picture of. They saw the results at the Rose Room and wanted their building to be modernized as well. So this is the mock-up of what it's going to be like. So you can see those really small windows that they have currently, and they're going to be expanding that. They're also using the same company that Rose Room used, Total Home Care. So they know how to do the process, and I've worked with them before. I feel very comfortable in doing so.
Isn't Total Home Care a Dayton-based company?
They are, and they're on Sixth Avenue as well. They also applied for their own facade grant this morning, actually, so that's another one that's pending. As part of the rules, they can't do their own work. They have to have an outside company do it. So they actually did that, and they're looking to do some facade work on their building as well, mainly on that front porch area. I think it's taking away those iron posts and kind of putting more of a original kind of look. The recent DBA awards, Wayfarer Tavern received the rental abatement grant for the next 3 years, which is the rental assistance program. The Rose Room, of course, did the facade update and they received $10,000. They invested over $45,000 into the building. The Elliott Cafe, which I mentioned before, received an approved application for signage. And the garage, Yard and Co., who owns that building, did some facade work. They replaced all the windows, the garage door, and then some of the doors, so they also got a facade grant for that in the amount of $10,000. Our ongoing DBA grants are, we only have 2 right now, Barb's Cozy Cottage and Roland Books and Coffee. And actually, in that bank account, we have enough funds that our interest that we're accruing, because interest rates are high right now, we actually make more interest that we're paying out to these businesses. So our account is accruing money month after month, which is great. Does anybody have questions about businesses? Okay.
They have to.
I know there were discussions with that property on trash and how to manage it because they were having issues with it. I'll look back and see exactly what was decided in that. And let you know. Okay. Right, yeah, I know that was kind of going back and forth. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's trash day tomorrow.
Board updates, the park board met for the regular July 2024 meeting. They unanimously approved to motion to accept the recreational trail grant, which you already did this afternoon. Just a few things on that. The total cost of that project is going to be $90,220. The total grant funds remaining is a little over $70,000. So the park board, is going to fill that $20,000 gap with their budgets. They'll have $125,000 to spend in this fiscal year, so $20,000 of that is going to go towards our park and that trail project. So they'll still have a healthy budget, $105,000 left in order to do any other park improvements. They have a running list of things that they want to do, so I encourage any of you to go to the meetings if you want to hear about that. Main Street Board, we met at our regular meeting. We mainly discussed city branding and talked about a potential new branding design. I sent you all that in an email a couple weeks ago. Feel free to give me thumbs up or whether you like it, you don't, comments, concerns, whatever. I'm not going to bring it up here in the meeting because we don't need that approval. I'm sure we all know. The Board of Architectural Review met their regular scheduled meeting. They approved 2 COA, certificate of appropriateness. The first one is the garage, and they had to file for signage during the historic district. So in order for them to get the signage grant, they had to be approved by the historic board. They were approved. The second one is a residence on 6th Avenue, wanting to replace a metal roof with shingles. That was also approved, and I have the reasoning below. if you want to look at a report as to why that was approved. Lastly, the Board of Adjustments will be meeting this month on July 17th at 7 p.m. in this building at Dayton Community Center for a conditional use permit application. The most people know it as the Cherry Creek Cabinets Building on 6th Avenue was recently sold. That first floor is being transitioned into a commercial space, which is what we want to see. A tattoo shop is looking at locating there, which is one of those 5 businesses that are looking to locate here in Dayton. The Board of Adjustments has to approve a tattoo shop. It's a conditional use here in the city of Dayton, which is pretty unusual, but I think several decades ago or whenever, tattoo shops weren't the same as they are today, and they kind of wanted to not have them, so they made it more stringent in order to kind of limit them. So we still have that law on the books, so that's what we have to do in order to allow it to be there. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. Because I go to you go to all the board meetings, and the information you just gave is a lot of the questions I get from people out in the public. So I appreciate you giving those reports.
Yeah, so like I said, I'll be doing that every month, just talking about what the boards discuss, what they decided and whatnot. So.
So will I add you to the department director's report, or will you have your separate bullet?
Whatever's in your heart.
Pure evil, right? Pure evil.
He's the boss, you know?
Thank you, sir, for your report. That brings up the next on the docket would be audience comments. So anybody who'd like to address council, administration, the podium is yours. Please state your name and address.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. My name is David Kubza. I reside at 256 Manhattan Boulevard, apartment 417. And the other day, last week sometime, the Manhattan Development Group put up a signage, on the west bend of Manhattan Boulevard. And it had something on there that I thought the people here should know what this means. They have A is Gateway Flats, and B is the Promenade, which, according to the drawing, is right where Queen City Riverboats is. And what is that? And how does it connect with what's next to it, the Riverwalk? And will they have just completed a building, the gray block that they put up on the west end of the development? Do you know where I'm talking about? Is that to be built on, or is that going to be free and clear so you can turn that corner coming into Dayton and see that wide expanse of water? That's it.
The Promenade building is, like you said, when you built on Queen City Riverboats property. I believe the developer is calling it a signature site. We discussed it in our meeting a few months ago. I can show you those designs if you'd like. We have them in our office. I don't have them with me.
Is it on our is that on the Dayton website?
It may be, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So.
That's something that should actually.
Sure. So, like I said, I can provide that with you and then check it on the website as well. But it will connect with the Riverwalk Trail. Absolutely.
So the platform now, basically you've got Queen City Riverboats, the parking lot. Now, what are the cops going to do now when they want to test their driving? Is it going to be a parking lot?
The Queen City Riverboat site?
No, the promenade.
It's going to be an apartment building, I believe.
Promenade is going to be an apartment.
Yes, so it'll have a parking garage underneath. These are early designs as well, so there's nothing's insane. But from what I know, it is a parking garage with an apartment complex on the side.
And there is an easement across all the way to the Bellevue border, across that whole property for the Riverwalk to connect to Bellevue. There is an easement built into that property deed.
Okay, well, I'm just curious because I live in that building. Gateway Flats, I'm there because of the view. And I was just wondering, they're going to build something that's like we're doing in Covington? Is that what you're doing?
The
that what the
developer,
plan is?
the developer is building it with the city of Davis.
Or don't you have to approve?
Sure, but like I said, these are preliminary designs. We've not had a design given to us like a final project that we would have to approve.
Okay. Well. Thank you.
Sure.
Excellent questions. Thank you, David. Podium is open for anyone else who'd like to address council or administration. Speak your word. All right, it's rainy out there.
Real quick,
Someone here too.
um,
Name and address.
Jerry Huntley, 585 Manhattan.
Thank you, Joe.
Real quick, to answer your question on the SPL meter, the technology is so advanced now, you can buy a microphone for your phone, an app that will actually take pictures of what the SPL level is. I just took one of the meeting just a couple minutes ago. It shows exactly what the volume was, and then what the max level was, and all your different dB levels. It's free, so they don't need to spend money on it, and it's very, very, very accurate if you do buy the $129 microphone.
We'll just have to make sure that it would hold up in court.
Yes, and I was going to make that same suggestion.
You use your phone, you also use their phone. Reverse stuff like that. Could be taken as evidence, and they would have-
Okay, no, good point.
I don't want that to happen. I'd rather have.
Totally
Yeah,
understand.
We typically do separate devices. We don't use their phones because, I mean, they'll be.
I've got extra ones I don't use. I'll give you one.
Hey, Chief, I've
Good deal.
probably
Thank you,
prosecuted
Mr. Huntley.
5 nuisance ordinances in 12 years, and I'm 0 for 5 on all 5.
Okay.
It's we're going to do it, but we got to have the, like you said, the technology and the data.
Yeah, I'd rather have the
We gotta
technology to do it. Yeah.
Because criminal defense attorneys love that challenge.
Yes.
It's like texting on a phone. Are you using GPS mapping or are you texting? It's hard, it's nearly impossible.
That's
to
correct.
predict, but we're going to get them.
Yep. We're working on it.
Thank you, sir. And the podium is still open for anybody who'd like to address council. Aaron, go ahead and close that.
I have a question.
You have a question? Yes.
Yeah. When we get the paperwork for city council, all the reports and the agenda, is there a way to have it all in by Friday?
Typically do.
Because we had another update at 3:00 and I didn't have time to read it. And also if it's in by Friday and then we have like some kind of emergency update, can you write what exactly we're looking for? What was the change?
That's a fair request. I mean, sometimes changes do come up and maybe it's an if or there and for whatnot, in legalese or whatever. Sometimes it's small ordinances or whatever, but yeah, we can certainly point it out. But this administration has been very good at getting paperwork out, getting it on.
I didn't say you're not good. I'm just saying that I was busy today and it came out at 3:00.
Yeah,
So I want to make sure that I read it. I want to make sure that I knew what the change was. I don't want to kind of come in here and act like, oh, I'm sure, I kind of know. And so maybe if we could, I don't know, is this your deal? I'm not sure who I'm talking to. But on Friday, if we keep to expect it on Friday, we would know, okay, read it, by Tuesday or whatever. And if it comes out on Tuesday, 3 hours before the meeting, what was it like, I don't have time. I can't do it right now. Is to go through all those attachments and like what, I don't want to. So just say, what's the change? What am I looking for?
Yeah, I think that's all valid. The reason why you got the one at 3:00 today is because it required me to close those the books.
Okay.
And it's a several day period. And with this being the beginning of the month, and we had a holiday weekend in there, just took longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
I'm sorry.
Did you say that in the email? Like
I included
it
it.
because.
I included it.
Okay.
I think the confusing issue, at least for me, was that all the ordinances and all the reports were in one PDF
So,
file.
like
So if there's
ASAP.
anything added to that, we'd have to print out all of that PDF file again. And on an inkjet printer, that gets kind of expensive.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't that your suggestion? To make it all in one PDF
No.
document?
I
So you're
don't
mistaken.
recall having made that. I would rather
Because
have
I
them so.
believe that in the past, we had them as separate documents, and then we had to change them all to one single PDF.
To make it easier to print.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think, I don't recall having made that because I like to search in my Outlook for, by subject or by attachment for that number of the ordinance.
We should still find that.
I would say that it is significantly easier for us to not have to put that in one document.
I'd be fine with that. Because that way, if there is a change to it or a new one coming out, you could just send out that one or the change to that one and make it a lot less confusing. And especially now that they're in the second week, our meetings are in the second Tuesday, it gives you a little bit more time.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, that kind of jumped the gun there.
She did.
I know she did. It's okay. We forgive. We forget. New business is next on the docket. Has anybody got any new business?
That was my new business.
All right. Any other new business? Anybody want to discuss parking?
I'll be interested to see how this is going to work out that first week of school. I know how with the Sixth and Berry, when we changed that from a red light, that was confusing to a lot of people. The Lincoln School, I agree with you, Jessica, that drop off at Lincoln is really going to be,
We had a route. Now all of us are going to be at the exact same corner, everyone.
you mean Fifth and Clay?
Ansman's, yeah. And that block is already backed up by Lincoln because of the drop-off route.
That dropout, that's going to have to change.
I mean, I agree, something has to, not counting all of the big trucks that I do not understand why they can't wait 30 minutes. But we're 30 days away.
I did reach out to SRO rental, apparently schools now have a meeting on the 23rd.
Okay, so since you last spoke,
Since I text, yes, Officer Brendel, our SRO, they are having a meeting on the 23rd to discuss this issue.
great. We're already ahead of.
Yeah.
Cool. So that should be 2 weeks ahead of time.
Thanks,
Really.
Chief.
I was just going to say, I think we've had some discussion online, and we don't need to dig into it tonight, but some people have talked about the 48-hour parking issue. People, work from home. People walk. We're a walkable community. Their car might be sitting there for 36 hours. And so maybe, we can have a discussion in the upcoming months over updating that ordinance. It might be outdated, like Mr. Edmondson mentioned. It's a different world now. So it's currently 24 or 48 hours. People go on vacation. But usually if you're going on vacation, always a good point to call the cops and tell them, hey, I'm going on vacation. My car's going to be parked here for a week. I'll be in Florida with my kids. A, they know not to ticket your car. B, you get extra eyes on your house when you're out of town. It's always nice to have. And they're always very accommodating to that. So I know it's kind of an ongoing discussion, so we'll probably be looking at that in the future if anybody wants to discuss that.
Well, it's one of those things, when it's somebody else's car, you complain about it. When it's your car getting towed or ticketed, that's, oh my God, that's like terrible. And we do have parking problems in a lot of the neighborhoods. How do you mark, since you can't mark tires anymore, how do you tell other than
pictures?
Okay.
Art chef,
Something like
these recipes.
that. But no, that's always the complaint in any city is the parking and the abandoned cars and stuff. What do other urban cities do as far as 48 hours, 96 or what?
some have parking passes that you have to continuously monitor, zones for people who reside there. If you're talking about an area that you're concerned about some of the residents just not having an ability to park because it's being taken up by visitors or people that are Airbnb or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, that's a very common attribute that's been done. And of course, Newport, Covington, all the inner cities have those issues with people parking their cars, going to Reds games and never making it home that night, and the car's sitting there and the person can't unload. I just had an assault happen that I'm dealing with over a parking spot. Two people were just not no one was going to bend. So they got into a fight. So we have to deal with those. So really it's a direction we can look at our parking ordinance, determine what's best, make some recommendations. And then if there's certain areas of the city that meet different criteria. So if one part of the city has this problem, then we can look at it and address it a different way. As far as prosecuting it, I mean, I see very little ever parking citation, either appeals or anything. I guess people just pay them out, chief. I mean, they don't spend the money on an attorney to fight them necessarily. But, really it's an issue of, like Mayor said, what do we want the city to be?
I imagine that almost all, probably 99% of the citations that you would write are based on residents' complaints. Because, I mean, unless you live in the neighborhood, you don't know what car's been sitting there for a long time. Do we have to change it, or is it a matter of enforcing it harder or less, or is 48 hours reasonable? I think that's your question, Mayor Major. Your question, I guess, is 48 hours the right move? Is that basically what the discussion would be?
That is a discussion. 3-day weekends happen. People go out of town, whatever. Talking to a lady today, said she almost got an apartment on the avenue, and she works in the avenue. She's like, I'd never drive. My car would be there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a different world now that with the work from home. It's the same world with Dayton being a very walkable city. So it's a discussion. It's an ongoing discussion. I don't think we've written too terribly many tickets. I don't think we've towed too terribly many cars, but it's just an ongoing discussion.
One of the other things, Mayor, if I could interject, one of the things that we looked at historically in some cities is it's a revenue issue. And revenue meaning how many cars are parked in a spot continuously with out-of-state plates that are no longer out-of-state. They're Dayton, whatever resident, but have chosen not to change their address for purposes of insurance premium tax and taxes.
Right.
And you'd be surprised at how many Ohio cars sit on streets frequently and have no intention of changing their address. Go to an apartment complex and look at the cars in that apartment complex. That's lost revenue, a tremendous amount of lost revenue because it's X% on every insurance bill. School taxes, the things associated with it, anything that is ad valorem attached to a vehicle. So, I mean, it's one of those things where we could analyze major areas, the arterial streets that there are big problems, say how many of these are Ohio, just like Cassie did with how many rental properties are there owned by someone outside the city. Because every car is a $1,500 tax bill, or excuse me, $1,500 bill that are not remitting taxes to the city of Dayton.
Yeah, and I don't think we should look at it as a revenue source. That's a part of enforcement there. And different neighborhoods, different blocks have different turnover and different available spaces. Some only have parking on one side. So yeah, parking is at a premium. Is it not working, or is it a matter of, has anybody come up with a better suggestion on it?
I mean, how many residents do we have?
6,000 plus.
How many complaints you get a day on parking? 1, 2?
I'm back. 13.
This is your fourth time today, I believe.
13. We've had 13 year to date for overtime parking
13?
complaints. That's it. We had three for the month of June.
How many of those are the same cars?
Yeah, well, we'd have to go back and dig into that, but I just have the year to date and the monthly. So year to date, we have 13 for 48-hour parking. Sometimes
Maybe it
we're
makes no sense to do anything.
Yeah. Sometimes we're accommodating where we'll knock on their door or we'll let them know the car needs to move, or we'll put a warning tag on it and they will move it.
Was the issue resolved with all the vehicles from the auto body down here, the church? You know, talk about all the cars.
Yeah, I'll have to check into that, but I think it flows differently every couple months, so.
So
I
if
agree
you
with
plan on
Chief.
leaving your car-
13 year to date, not a problem.
Yeah,
All right.
it's not really, but it is something to think about and we can talk about it later.
Well, as long as you have the tools to be able to enforce it as needed.
Yeah, it's as needed. We're a 10-man, 11-man department. It's hard to keep up with 6,000 cars in the city, to know which, it's just we just don't have the resources to keep up with it. So we rely on citizens and citizens' complaints to help us out.
If you leave your car for 48 hours to notify the police, I got a teenage daughter. I'm gonna leave my car every Friday and Saturday and let
Yeah.
someone else babysit what's going on.
Yeah, most of the time we'll put a warning on it and then they'll move it and then it takes care of itself. But just giving you the numbers on that.
All right.
Thank
I
you.
promised somebody I'd bring it up. I brought it up.
It's the biggest
I'm calling
frustration
you
in any
every
city is
Friday
parking.
night.
There's never enough parking. There's
No.
too many cars.
There are too many cars per.
We need golf.
Sunday.
There's not a golf. We do need more golf carts. We're up to 6 registered golf carts. Proud of us. Yeah, cool. That's 6 registered. We're still. If you haven't registered yet, register your golf cart. All right. Any other new business?
I have a quick question. We had that meeting in March, and I can't remember what it's called. What was that meeting?
The
Strategic planning.
Thank you, strategic planning. And Cindy Minter was there. And I remember that she said there were 3 projects coming up in Dayton. And one of them was the promenade, and one of them was the twin to the Orange Building. And then there was some other building. And those were the 3 that were on the docket for 2024. Did I misunderstand that? Like, is the promenade a done deal or is it not a done deal?
The plans have not been presented to be approved. That's all I know.
Right now, it's the concept.
It's a
It's like
concept.
a concept, yeah.
So who would approve it?
The Campbell County zoning
Okay,
and the Manhattan Harbor Review Board as well.
And city council.
and us? Am I right?
I don't know that you.
We would
all
approve the zoning.
Well, it's
Well,
not
it's already
zoning
zoned.
change.
It's not changed.
Right, it's the same zoning. The zoning allows that sort of thing. So it would not go before you that I'm aware of.
Okay. But, so the promenade is still in progress, not approved. Is that true for the twin for the Orange Building also?
As far as I know.
And the other thing, I don't even remember, it was a brown thing, that all of them. They're not really approved, but they have been presented as,
Conceptual so far.
okay, all right. Thanks.
Any other new business? Would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I would.
Member Neary, or Volter, whatever you want to call him, has made the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Member Neiman. All in favor?
Hi.
Any nays? Any abstentions? We will see you all next month, second Tuesday. Take care.